So we're looking for a bounce on the NAS, but we're not getting one. We're in the same area as Bitcoin, into that midpoint of the box of that order block. And we got a bounce on Bitcoin. So NASDAQ is similar, in the midpoint of that order block, dead directly on the midpoint. So I would expect a little bit of a bounce here. Get a little bounce. So we're getting a little bit of a sweep. We get a little bounce here, back up. It's been a relentless down here. Look at how they're hugging that midline of the gap of that order block. It's amazing. Yeah, there we go. It looks like we're going to get that bounce now.
It's trying to say I've gone down enough. I need to do something else for a little while, but on the NAS, but not without qualifications. This morning it started out going up with gangbusters. The NASDAQ. Oh, there you go.
Well, early morning the NAS fell, like 5:30 in the morning, and then it bounced up and stayed up for quite a while.
Yeah, I got a sale in, I think it was around 6:30, something like that this morning from Eastern time.
Oh, we are going up a little higher. Oh, of course, we will go up a little bit higher. There's a gap there. We're still there.
I do nicely do that now.
They are going up a little higher. A sweep here now. All right, so looking for, let's see if we can get that set up. Reach of this low.
That's Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon,
Marquis.
Hey, Marquis.
Before we get started, can I ask 2 questions here, Lennox?
Yes, sir.
So the first one is, if we first, I'll explain how I break down the way you explain the 1, 2, 3. So breaker block. Once it breaks below the breaker block and sweeps the lows, after that, it should break above the breaker block and set new structure. After it sets a new high, then you wait for the pullback and then you enter. So that's how I personally kind of define the definition that you kind of explained the other day, or yesterday, was it?
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how many candles should be from the breaker block to the actual structure before we say, hey, this structure is not valid? Because 1, 2, 3s can be found on the same 1, 2, 3 can be found on the same time frame. So if it's a little bit clearer on like maybe the lower time frame, it gives it a lot more candles. So how many?
That's a tough question. You can't really say how many candles per se. You know, I mean.
Lennox, you want to put the recording on?
Are you just looking for the cleanest structure?
Yeah, I don't think there's you can say it is an X amount of candles, because a 1, 2, 3 can be just 3 candles, right?
Yeah, right.
So I wouldn't be able to say, oh yeah, for sure that it should be 3 candles or 4 candles or 5 candles or it's just.
And
it's just a structure.
The problem with it, Marquis, is that the size of the candles can markedly alter what you're looking for in the 1, 2, 3.
Essentially, it's just a structure. So it can be as many candles as it takes to make that structure.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the sweep. I'm looking for a sweep, and I'm looking for an entry. That's the basic setup when you're buying, and the total opposite when you're selling, right? So when you're selling, it's this way. So I'm looking for a sweep. I'm looking for a sweep. Looking for a sell.
All right. So just clarity, and you just want to be able to define the structure clearly. And
yes, that's the key.
The worse the structure.
Yeah.
And the worse the structure is, then the lower the probability of it actually being a successful 1, 2, 3, basically.
I'm sorry.
The more undefined the structure of the actual pattern is, then the less likelihood of it being a successful 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and one of the things is, I'm looking for a sweep on this side here or here, but sometimes you don't get a sweep and you still get, for example, right currently here, there was a sweep up here. That's a long way up. And you get this drop. And now I'm looking for that move up. There's a change right there. And then I'm looking for the retrace back into this gap. So that was perfect. But look at how high up the sweep is, right? The sweep would have been nicer down here and getting this high down below here, ideally, right? That would have given me a nicer structure. But sometimes it's not like that. I mean, you can draw it out nicely and everything on, when you draw it out, but, reality is different, right?
So you're also looking at the structure of because those are basically breaker blocks.
Yes.
So
here's a setup right now.
You're looking at Right. So what makes you want to look at that one that was at the top there as opposed to those two that were lower, and that the structure that we just to the left there?
Here?
Yeah.
As the sweeps?
Yeah.
Well, you could consider those sweeps as well. You could consider that a sweep as well. So, and then the previous high would be right here. So that constitutes a valid one. But this is much more pronounced sweep. So that's the difference. You can really see that, where these ones are very quick. So this setup right now, I got a sweep. I've got another sweep here of this low. So now I'm just looking for a retrace back into this gap. Once this candle closes, a retrace back into the gap would constitute a sell.
Okay.
Right?
So basically we want it to look as good as possible.
Yes, indeed, because when you're looking for gold, you want the best, you want a nice chunk of gold, right? When you don't chuck away the ones that are not really a good piece of gold. So,
well, it was gold.
If it's gold, it's gold. But I think when you're panning for gold, there are certain criteria, right? What you're looking for. So similar type of thing. Maybe that's not a good analogy, but okay. So look at that. We're not even getting a retrace here at all, right? We're breaking right through, and that's what's happens sometimes. So I'll still be a little bit patient. Say, okay, I'm still looking for a retrace here. So you see, count number of candles. You can't say how many candles, right?
Oh, so that brings you to my second question. So during a retrace, at what point do we say this retrace has gone too low? This setup isn't valid anymore.
Well, we passed it. So there's our number 1 and 2 and 3 points here, right? So once the train leaves the station at, basically the station is between number 2 and number 3. So once the train has left the station, you can start to say, well, it's kind of tough now to get on this train because it's moving too fast.
So not so much as far as like entering into 3 pattern, or is it just simply basic? I mean, like how far? Because if you have a sweep, you have a sweep. Are we looking at? Are we just doing standard Elliott wave, whereas as long as the 2 doesn't retrace below the 1, or are we taking into consideration the sweep as well to say, all right, the 2 hasn't retraced below the 1, but the sweep is way up here, and
yeah, and now with the train's left, and we're way down here. So, I mean, we've got some gaps here, so we could still get a pullback to a gap. You could still jump in here. However, the train has left the station, so now you're getting less of a reward if you get in, right? Your ideal reward is when you're in this area. That's the ideal. But you can still get in on the train here, but your risk is that, you can trip and get chopped up by the wheels. In other words, your probability of getting bigger profit is lessened, right? You can still make profit, but you're not going to make as much as if you had gotten in here.
I mean, more so. So, all right. So not the actual wave count, but like, so we have the order block, or we have the breaker block, and we have the low of the breaker block that we consider to sweep. Well, in this case, we have the high of the breaker block to the left there.
Yeah.
Left.
The way you're referring to here?
No, up high, the high.
Oh, here.
So here we have the high of the breaker block. So, and then we have the 1-2 that retraces. So when we see the 1-2, do we say, all right, we have a 1-2, but the 2 retraced, it broke above the sweep of the breaker block. So we're no longer looking at this as a valid pattern.
Yeah, I mean, now that we've broken this low, or we could even use this low at this point too, right? Because that was the one that started the move to the upside. So either one of those, this one would have been a nicer one because of course if you could have got a retrace, that would have been beautiful. But yeah, once we break this point now, it becomes it's tougher to, I mean, here, for all intents and purposes, that was a retrace right there into that gap. So that could have been a sell right there because you're close to your point. So that's not so bad. But after that, it starts getting a bit long in the tooth for you to start to try to jump in. So essentially, you just don't want to be getting in too far down below your number 2 point. That's the key.
Can I share my screen real quick?
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Share screen. Which one are we? This one. Start sharing. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what I mean is.
No, I can't. Sorry, I see black.
I see the screen.
Sorry, I thought it was coming up, but yeah, now it is.
Now
Okay.
it's there.
It's there.
All right, so let's see. I'll do this for George. All right, so let's see. Layer. Okay, so this right here, we have a 1, 2, 3, and right here we have our. We can say this is our breaker block structure here. We could do it from the other there. So this is the 1, the 2, and how, so if this, once our 2 wave, are we taking into consideration like the breaker block? If we say the wave 2 pulled back and closed beyond the sweep that we were looking for. So at what point do we say, all right, this has closed beyond the sweep, but it still hasn't closed above the high of the wave 1? Do we say, all right, this is no longer a valid trade?
It would have to break the number 1 point for that to be invalid.
Okay. Just Elliott wave.
Yes, one tick above that number 1 point, and it's not valid.
Okay.
It can be equal. It can be equal and be valid, but it can't go above it.
So I've been doing a lot of trade. I find the Dow is a little bit better for it's a little bit better for what's the word I want to say? Like market structure. It's a little bit less shaky. I think it might just be because there's fewer stocks in it, or they track just fewer instruments.
Yes.
But when I also find that it leads the market. So if I look at the Dow and I see that it's going down, and then I can look at maybe like the Rudy and also say, all right, so we have this most 30 of the indices, as well as which should be the most shaky of the indices, then they're both going down. Then I'll start looking for sells in like NASDAQ. And then I don't really like to trade SPY. I find SPY is like it's a lot more indecisive than the Dow.
Yeah, the SPY is very choppy.
Yeah. But okay, sir. Thank you. You answered my question to a T.
Okay,
so
excellent.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lennox, I think I have an example that I wanted to talk about that is akin to what he's looking at there.
All right. Well, let me start the recording because I did not start the recording, and
okay.
Then you can begin. Okay. So let me just start sharing here again, and I'll just start fresh. Good morning, Peter.
Morning.
Good morning, Vic. Well, go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. It is Wednesday, February 26th. We are live at the New York Stock Market afternoon session. Glad you could join us. Okay, quick look at news as usual. Today is the 26th, and we had no red news. We did have new home sales and crude oil inventories. I don't know if they had any dent in the markets at all this morning, George. Did they? Any of those?
The market, I mean, very early this morning, like 6:30, I think it was, I had a down sweep in the market where I made some pips.
So there was news at 10.
Pardon?
There was news at 10. So anything?
Yeah, there's some news at 10, but
did they make a dent?
From the 9:30, it started up. It was a pretty aggressive upswing.
Yeah, I'm just asking if the news had any dent in the market. Did it make any waves?
Yeah.
Did the news make any waves in the market at all?
Not really.
Okay. All right, that's what all I wanted to know. Okay, so on looking at the U.S. dollar versus the Euro U.S. dollar, we've got currently a weak U.S. dollar overall. On the 15-minute, we've got a 1, 2, 3 top, 1, 2, 3 bottom, and this move up. And it looks like we should continue this way, for the U.S. dollar. So weak U.S. dollar overall in the short term, anyways. And I'm currently trading Bitcoin. I just went in. Let me just put my executions on. Oh, not executions, but positions on. So there. I'm in that position. I'm up quite a bit. Let me just take off some a partial here while I can. So that's some nice profit there. So I'll just hang in there with this trade, and I'll put it into positive so there's no loss on this. And where am I going to now is the question. So let me see if I can see to the left. Okay, so there's a quick target right there I could go to. It's reasonable. Let's go to this right there. Should be able to hit that pretty quick, but let's see if there's another target on the hourly. I can't see anything. 4 hour. Can't see anything. Wow. So I can't even see to the left here. That's amazing. So on the daily, okay, so now I can see on the daily that I'm coming into a gap, and I was just I could have actually put my target to that gap, which is very close anyway. So that hit target right away. So just on that move, so we were just talking about this setup with Marquee, and so there it is, Marquee. I went in on that a little late, and what I did was I went in on the retrace at that point, right? So you can see that, yes, we had the structure break here and here and here, and we had a nice 1, 2, 3, and we dropped. And you said, you know, when can you get in still if we pass the number 2 point? And past number 2 point here, and you see they came down and they bounced back up into the gap here. So I'm very close to my number 2 point again, in essence. So I can jump in at that point and catch the ride, because it's making a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can catch that wave. So that's what I did. I jumped in at that point and caught the move. So it works just beautiful. So if you know that you have room to get down to a target area, you know, if this is your target, you know, your TP, then if you're up here and you see this bounce, if you're here and you see this bounce back up into a gap, that's a go. You can take the move. Here we're getting another retrace into a gap. So if there is room here for more targets below this level, you could certainly jump in again to catch that move if your structure is not complete. But you know, right now it looks like my structure might be done. So I would be hesitant now about going in to go short again. So it's all about the structure first of all, more so than anything else. And then we're looking for our 1, 2, 3.
That was a pretty good one.
That's a beautiful one, right? So
I like to enter on a 4th wave, but I don't take it. I don't ride it.
There is no incoming call.
I don't ride it too far down. I'll do a retracement from the top of the 4th to the bottom of the 3rd. And then I'll just take it to maybe like the 27. I'm not really too, I don't really try to take it like too far in the 4th wave, because 4th waves can be so tricky.
You mean you don't try to take it too far into 5th wave?
Yeah, I don't try to ride the 5th wave all the way down. I'll just do like an extension to like the 27.
Yeah, so you see in this case here, they've come back and taken out the low again. So it's saying that there is a little bit of room here for them to drop it one more time. So that's what they're doing. But maybe they won't go very far here now. So we've come on to, and the only thing we can look at is the daily time frame. We've hit this gap right dead on. So this could be a point where we actually make a bounce. We could come into the gap halfway. We could go all the way to the bottom of the gap. We could go through the gap. But right now, this is the support. So do we bounce at this point, or do we go through, or, you know, we're very close to a bottom based on this move. And this has been quite a cycle in here, this whole chop here. been very much pronounced. So this is where you could, like Peter was showing us yesterday with his DeMark lines, you could use the DeMark lines to delineate where you are on a daily time frame level, and that would be something like this and this at this point. So that's what. And previous to this bottom horizontal line, the last one would have been right here, and that would have given you the breakout to the downside. Actually, it's even tighter. You could go into a tighter one in here. That's even better right there. That would be the last. So that gives you a tight. Where did my line go? Didn't I just put a line there? From here into here, or from here into there. So that gives you a very tight. I might even be wrong because there could be another one here, right there and here. Would that be correct, Peter? Would you say?
I'm sorry, say that again, Lennox.
Looking at that DeMark line, that would be correct on these two. I could use this one as well, but these two are the most correct.
Yeah, that's the most correct. Yeah.
Yes. So that would constitute a 1, 2, 3 at that point, and a breach of it. Right there, the breach of the number 2 point, this is our number 2 point, would be a sell to catch that whole move on the daily. So just using the Tom DeMark lines. So very powerful aid, just those trend lines. And this, again, this setup is the same as what I've been showing you, where we get a sweep. So we get a sweep of the highs right there. And then we're looking for, so this would be the breach of the point, but this also could be considered as a breach here on this level, because that's the one that went up. And then there's our 1, 2, and then that's the drop. But this getting in at this point is way later than getting in at this here, or ideally the number 2 point is the way you want to get in that area. So that is the Bitcoin. So we're starting to go into the gap. So I can go down and start looking at this to see, are we ready to get a turnaround at any time soon? So we can see we've been a huge downward move here. I'm on the 15-minute. There's the top of this move. Very difficult to get in on that because we don't have a 1, 2, 3 top that's clear here. So this would have been difficult on this time frame. That's a sweep that they did there, and then they made a 1, 2, 3, but it's very quick, and they're gone. So we're still going down. You can see we're going down. And there's a midpoint of the gap right down here. So we're still going down. So I could have stayed in my position had I looked at it from the daily first. I could have set my target for a lot lower, but that's all good, you know. So on the 5-minute. Still going down. So where is my midpoint? So it looks like they're heading to the midpoint of the gap at this point. And sometimes what they do as well is that they go to halfway of the halfway point of the to the midpoint. So you can draw like that, and they just go halfway in. So there's the halfway point of the halfway point. So a quarter of the way in. into the gap, and you can see they've touched that and they're retracing right now. So that could be where, as far as they go and turn around. So the only way we can tell is by using the structure to see, is that basically it at that point? Maybe, but they're still going down. So we could get a wick here, but we will see. So that's quite a drop going on here. We'll go down to the 1 minute. So they're going past the quarter of the way, unless we just get a wick here, which they can do. They can just make a wick and the body can be above, and that will still constitute being quarter of the way essentially. So look at that. I got in here and got out here, and they've gone all the way down. That's a huge amount of profits that are left on the table. So this whole thing here would now be a 1-2, and we could still get this kind of move and continue down. So how's the NAS doing now at this point? Yeah, still going down. So NAS is still going down as well. So I need to see the NAS from the daily as well. We can get an idea of where we are. So I think yesterday we surmised that we've gone through the fourth wave. This is our number 4 point. And then we've got a 1-2, another 1-2, yet another 1-2. Now they've gone up, taken everybody out up here. Now they're taking everybody out down here. So all these guys who bought have been taken out. There's only one group left right here. And then of course down these two on the number 4 point, which we wouldn't want to see them take this number 4 point. We actually don't even want to see them take these 2 points for us to have our structure intact to continue. So if we take out this low, that might not be a good thing. That could portend possibility that they'll take out all these guys here. And there's nothing saying that I'm correct with this A, B, C, D, E. Yes, it's an A, B, C, D, E. However, it could also just be A and a B and a C and a D, and then this could be an E leg. So they can manipulate this very, very much. So it looks like we could be done at this point, and we could get a turnaround in here and go, but we could still be inside this huge fourth wave, and they're manipulating the whole area. And my count is, instead of this being A, B, C, D, E, and I'm thinking this is 4, this could just be the A. This could just be the A at this point. This could be the B, or even this could be the B. And then we could get a C over here and a D, and you can see they can make this elongated and stretched out and so on. So
is your A at 10 o'clock Eastern?
I'm sorry, George?
Is your A at 10 o'clock Eastern?
I'm on the daily time frame, so.
Okay. Forget that question.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it on a broader perspective. I'm just saying that at this point, we don't know for sure if this is just the A at this point on the daily, and this could be the B, because what's happening is when we come to a number 3 point, we get an A, a B, a C, a D, an E, and this is just a typical move, and then we get a 1, 2, 3 to go out. However, the A at, let's do that again, the A at this point is made up of an ABC. This is made up of an ABC. The B is made up of an ABC. The C is made up of an ABC. The D is made up of an ABC. The ABC. The D, and then the E leg is typically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're sweeping all these guys these ones sweep these, and so on. So yeah, the C sweeps the A, the D typically sweeps B, and so on. So does not mean that I'm correct by doing A, B, C, D, E, and this is done. Because inside here, there, you know, that could be an A, B, C, that whole thing. So they can chop it all up and make it look like it's done and so forth. So this looks pretty good at this point. However, I didn't like this move here. This here, once they broke that level, that was a bit oops. That's an oops. Because you would have thought, okay, that's it, we're going. Come back here and continue. But they've broken that, so it changes everything right here. This breach. Just the same as if they had come down here and breached this, that would have changed everything. And if they came down here and breached this low, that would have changed everything. Now they came and took that low out on a nice 1-2, so it's kind of oops. So now they're coming down so far. Where are they going? This is the last line of defense now. So are they going to come and attack that low? That's possible, right? So my nearest low is currently here. So now I can go down. So on the 4 hour, I can see that's my nearest low. Maybe they're heading to take that low out at that point. Possibly. And then the next low would be right below right there. So we could get a turnaround here, or we could go through. So we'll see which one it does. It might do it today. The hourly. So on the hourly, clearly looks like a fourth wave type move here, and we're dropping through. So this again, this is where the Tom DeMark lines could come into play very handily, where you can draw from your low to your previous low, and you can look for a breach of the lows. And actually I can use, no, that's the correct one right there. So a breach of that closure below that low, below this trend line, gives us an opportunity for a retrace for a continued drop. So looking for something, even a retest drop or a retrace drop is a possibility there. So go down to the 30. There we go. Let me take this off. There are my Tom DeMark lines. So those are the last two lows, and my last highs would be denoted here. These are the last two highs. So I would be looking for a retest or a retrace of maybe something could come back up in here before we get that drop, right? This would be a breach of that breaker, as you call it. There's a sweep up here already, sweeps here. So that's the kind of.
That's a bearish triangle in a downtrend.
I'm sorry, Peter?
That's a bearish triangle in a downtrend with those two DeMark trend lines.
Two DeMark lines, yes.
That's a bearish triangle in a downtrend.
Yes, and we've got a break of structure here, sweeps here. So I would be looking for a bounce back up now. That would be the ideal scenario in order to get into a sell. So which one, is it going to come all the way back up here, or is it just going to come to the first one? We don't know which one it's going to do. So I'm on the 30. Let me go to the 15. Okay, so I'm going to mark off the 30-minute because it's quite large. So I'm just going to mark these for my reference on the lower time frame. That way I can see them. Okay, so now if I drop that 15, so there's the bigger gap. There's one on the 15 as well. There's a bigger gap here on the 30, but there's a small gap on the 15. So it'd be nice to see a retrace back up into this area. or even higher. So it doesn't matter what the time frame is for our structure, because this is, again, that same thing we were talking about, Marquis, on the 1 minute, right? We've got the sweep, and then we get a sweep here of this low, but we can also use the low at this point, and there's a low here as well. So we could use that one to get in quicker, earlier, and waiting for this huge, instead of waiting for all this drop and then looking for a retrace back in to get a play, you could catch it up earlier if you can see it clearly earlier. And that's a breach here, and a drop back down, breach of that, retrace back up without taking out the previous high. That constitutes a sell. So you catch all that move. That's let me go to 5, and then we start to see it a lot more clearer on the 5 minutes. So this is our high. So there's our 1, 2, 3. At that point, there's a sweep. So breach of this low, and the retrace back in. That's our structure. That's what we're looking for. And you get another one, and so on. And that's where the power of the mark lines come in for what Peter's looking at, because he's looking at, okay, the last swing low right there, I can take those, and anytime I breach it to the downside, I'm in. You can use that as an entry right there. That works. Or even a retest of it, if you got a retest, that's pretty close. There's a gap there and everything, so that's another entry to the downside. And there's your 1, 2, 3. So very powerful. So do we get a retrace here? Do we get a bounce? Let me go back to Bitcoin, see where we're at with Bitcoin now. So we're looking for a bounce on Bitcoin, and we did get our bounce. So look at that. They came all the way through to touch them. They touched the midpoint of the gap exactly. Wow, amazing. So now we're getting a 1, 2 here, but we don't really have a sweep. So, I mean, technically you could say this is a sweep here, technically speaking, right? And from a higher time frame, that would be, we're on the 5 minute right now, so that's a sweep. And so if this is a sweep, then we'd be looking for a breach of this high, something like that, and that for a 1, 2, 3 to continue going up. So we go down to the 1 minute. So on the 1 minute, again, the last sweep technically again was here. Really, that's pretty high up. So we're not, there's a little bit of a sweep there. So there's our 1, 2 sweep there. Another sweep here. So unless we breach this low, we could go. But if we break the low, then it's a different count. So right now I see 1, 2, 3. So it looks like they should come back down to take out this low one more time. So they swept this low. So if you're waiting patiently now for an entry, you know, I like the fractal entry, so I'd be in on that. My stop would be right below here, or you can wait for a breach of the high and then a retrace to continue. This is probably a safer way to do it, because there's no guarantee that this is the low. We could continue down and take out this low. So that's the risk you take by going in on a fractal. Just because it's a fractal doesn't mean it's a bottom. Is what I'm saying here. Because the structure is the key. So if we feel this is number 3 point, then it's no point going in on a fractal here to go long. We're just going to get cut up. Okay, everybody's quiet here. Who's with us today? Omar is here. Omar.
I'm here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Tough game, eh, Omar?
Yeah, it is.
No joke, man.
It's a serious mental game, because sometimes you have the correct analysis, but then it's can be rough.
Even when you think you have the correct analysis, it's tough, because they can manipulate it to knock you out of your position. So a lot of times you might even have it right, and you go in and they still take you out and take off without you, right? So
yeah, that's
so yeah, it's a challenging game. That's why I love it, because it's like chess. It's like one of those types of games. You have to be thinking ahead of your moves, as it were. You have to plan. You have to look at all the possibilities.
Yeah, one of the other thing too that I hate is the platform freezes.
Well, it's a battle enough without having your platform giving you troubles. So
yeah, one moment.
yes,
It's war, Lennox.
it is a war indeed. The red guys versus the blue guys, or the red guys versus the green guys. Or
I like green.
It is a war.
I'm short Tesla. I'll explain my trade to you later on.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't looked at Tesla. Let's see what's going on with Tesla here today.
It's doing what I indicated yesterday. It broke the wave 4, and leg 2 is going down now.
Yes. So there's a nice clean setup there. I'm on the 15, down to the 5. Yeah, here's a nice so that's a beautiful pattern there. We've got a great 1, 2, 3 top to drop, So as soon as we drop, we know that we're at 3. And then we're looking for that breakout to the downside. So again, it's, you know, looking for a 1, 2, 3 here to go. So if you caught it up here, Peter, that's great.
I'm sorry if I caught it where?
In the 299 area, 300 area.
Yeah, I caught it on a break of wave 4.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Excellent.
But I had to wait. I had to wait an hour or two patiently.
Patiently, yes.
For
the name of the game.
For price to dipsy doodle through wave 4, and then finally crack it and drop.
Yes, very good. Very nice setup.
The Tom DeMark trend lines I find very helpful.
Yes, they are, and I would encourage the others to use them if they are so inclined, because they're very powerful.
It's the understanding of it and how it works.
The trend lines?
Yeah.
Okay, it's very straightforward. Let me go down to the 1 minute, see if I can see that even better. Yeah, let me go back to the 5 because it was much easier from the 5 there on this particular one. Essentially, the Tom DeMark lines, we're looking at a swing high or a swing low, and that's where you start your line, to the next swing low and to the next swing high. So, and the nearest ones to price. So in this case here, these two were the last, but now it would change because, so you see these two here were the last, but now it's changed. So I've got a new swing high right here. And so these two become the new swing highs, see? So anytime you get a new swing high, and there aren't any other swing highs so far. So those two now are the nearest ones.
Yeah,
so you have to connect. You have to connect.
Connect, yes. The swing high to swing high. And now the swing lows, this one was the last one, but now that has changed. And so I could swing from this one to this one.
Yeah.
Those are the last two.
And that forms a negative triangle and a downtrend, which is bearish.
So that's as simple as it is. You're just tracking your previous highs to previous lows on those, and using the swing lows and swing highs. So if I go down to the 1 minute time frame, of course there's going to be a lot more swings. So, but you can get very precision entries by using it that way, right?
So you only connect the last two swing highs and lows.
Yes. The last most current ones, yes.
Okay.
And that's as simple as it is. It's very simple. And what Peter did here for his entry was he connected these two in here and looked for the break of the swing high of this trend line low.
Yeah.
Break there for an entry.
Yeah.
So you can either wait for a closure of the candle, which is probably the best thing to do, is to wait for the closure of the candle. And in this case, because there is a, let me just make this a little bigger, because there is a gap here. So, okay, let me put the trend line back for a second. Put the trend line back here. Where were we? Here. So this would have been the last two at that point. So breach of that, we want to look for a closure below, ideally. And since there's a gap here, then since we close here, the next candle opens and hits the gap, that would be an entry as well, right? Or you could just go in out as soon as, because we got a closure, we could go in on that next candle as an entry as well. And we've got a nice 1, 2, 3. We've got the sweep. This is, everything is all lined up here very nicely for entries. There's so many confluences here. And we know that we're also in a fourth wave because we have a 1, 2, 3 top. We're chopping up and down in this fourth wave. We get this 1, 2. So the trend lines really help at that point. So this would have been the last trend line that way. Yeah, so it's quite powerful.
Yeah, this is all explained in Tom DeMarc's book called New Science of Technical Analysis, Chapter 1, but I would just follow what Lennox has been explaining because the book is so difficult to read. And basically, Chapter 1 tells you exactly what Lennox just explained.
And that's similar to Elliott waves, right? The Elliott waves, it's so deep reading it. I think I read that book at least 12 times, and still don't understand it all. There's so much to it. So I just took the basics because, it's like math. Once you know the basics of math, you can build from that,
Yeah, the graphical illustration is better for me. So like when you demonstrate on the chart in real time, it's better. I mean, you can still read the book and so forth, but it's not being or demonstrated on the chart, and it's harder.
Yeah, I watched a video where Tom DeMarc was giving a presentation to a bunch of financial analysts, and he held up a chart and asked everybody to draw the current trend lines and identify the trend, and nobody got it right. So he's the only guy on this planet that I have any faith in terms of drawing trend lines. And of course, Lennox has mastered it beautifully in his explanation today. I like to draw the trend lines because, like today, I was watching wave 4, for an hour and a half at least. Price was just dipsy doodling through wave 4, and so I was constantly drawing demand and resistance lines just to keep me awake and to give me something to do. And they finally paid off because then we had a break of wave 4 with a trend line break, and that's an example of patience. You have to really be determined to stay at your screen and watch during wave 4 and be prepared for a break, because it will come when you least expect it. It will come.
Go ahead and show it, Peter.
Okay. I'm still in my trade, but you want me to do my screen?
Well, it's up to you. If you're in any way going to jeopardize your trade, don't do it right now. Then it's up to you.
I'll do it right now, and because I'm still going down. Can you see my screen?
I'll keep an eye on it.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're at 290.80. I went short twice. The last time at 296.12. But let me just show you what I was looking at this morning. There's my wave 4 that I watched all morning, and price eventually broke. We had a number of 1, 2, 3s in here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. It's still going down. It's at 290.10, which means I'm probably going to be making about $1,500. But you can see with the Heikin-Achi candles, there was the bottom. That brown line is the bottom of wave 4, and you can see we had a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. I don't know if there's anything else to explain other than I like George's Heikin-Achi candles, because on the 15-minute chart, you can see that I'm going to draw a line above the tops of the Heikin-Achi candles on the 15-minute chart, and so they keep me in the trade because these are all Heikin-Achi candles going down. And when I pay attention to the Heikin-Achi candles on the 15-minute chart, I don't get distracted by all the noise on the higher level charts like the 1 minute and 5 minute. So I got this idea from George. But you can see the pattern here. This is a downtrend continuation pattern. This is leg 1 down. There's price equilibrium or consolidation in the form of wave 2. And price just dipsy doodles in through here. And I watched it for an hour and a half at least, waiting for this breakdown, and it finally came. So we're in leg 2 now. This is leg 2, and leg 2 is usually the same distance as leg 1. So if you measure the distance of leg 1 and project that south, that's pretty much how far leg 2 is supposed to go down. But this is a beautiful downtrend continuation pattern suffering through wave 2 here. Wave 2 is very boring, but it's worth, you can see all the trend lines I drew this morning. It's worth watching wave 4 because, like I said before, when you least expect it, price is going to do what it did this morning. It finally dropped down through wave 4, and Lennox did a great job of showing the break of the 1, 2, 3, getting us out of wave 4. So right now we're at 290.25, and let me just see where we're at right now on the 1 minute chart. Yeah, so we're still going down. 290.29, 5 minute chart. There's the 5 minute chart with the Heikin-Achi candles, and you can see how powerful that is. You can see the trend all the way down, and they keep you away from the noise on the 1 minute chart.
No wick.
Yeah, the 1 minute chart looks like this. The 5 minute chart is more pure. You can see the Heikin-Achi candles on the 5 minute chart, and then you go to the 15 minute chart, and it's even purer. So there you go. This is a downtrend continuation pattern. This was wave 4 or price equilibrium or consolidation. And like I said before, leg 2 is going down now, and it should be the same length as leg 1 down. This is leg 1 here, and leg 2 is now underway. So that's about all I had to say. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, another thing I was going to say, which I find very useful, is, for example, when we had a breakup here out of wave 4, you can see MACD, the blue line, punching down through the red line, right about here. So MACD was also telling us to go short right here. If you happen to be paying attention to MACD, and then of course you hold your trade as long as the blue line's below the red line. So lots of indications to go short right about here. So that's it, Lennox.
Excellent. Thanks, Peter.
You're welcome.
And great trading. It's wonderful. So you've made a month's salary this week.
Yeah, I've done okay, but it's tedious and stressful because price doesn't move in a straight line. So you really have to. I find the Tom DeMark trend lines are great because they give me something to do. Like instead of just staring at my screen, I can draw trend lines, and they keep me really focused on do we have buying pressure or selling pressure? Of course, when you're drawing a time to mark trend line down, that's selling pressure. When you're drawing it up, it's buying pressure. So it gives you an idea of what the heck's going on. And eventually they pay off because, for example, if you're drawing a demand, time to mark demand trend line, then you're looking for a break of it to the south. It just makes the game more enjoyable, I find, than other than just staring at the screen.
Yeah, it's a good exercise, definitely. And for what I'm doing from myself is I'm always drawing the structure. I'm always looking at the structure, and it's in a similar vein. So and these fractals, as I call them, or swing highs and swing lows, come into play, because those are the keys, because those are the points that I'm looking for to make my structure. So the Tom DeMark is just blends right in quite nicely. So I've drawn this demand line right here is not correct at this point because I don't have a swing yet. So I've just put it here because I would have to link to something way over on the left side, which I can't see. Would have to go to a higher time frame in order to get this low linked. If there is no other trend, or no other swing low near it. So now if I get a candle that closes, that opens here, I would have a new swing, and I could put my trend line there. And I should be getting one now. So this should be, well, it's still not constitutes, it doesn't, until this candle closes, it still does not constitute a swing low, but I can put it there and see if this candle closes above the high here.
And it's forming a negative triangle in a
Triangle
downtrend
right now. So if this candle closes above the high, we could see a further move to the upside. That's basically what it's saying. So we'll see.
Lennox.
Yes, sir.
I could go over some of my trading this morning because part of it is kind of answering the questions that we're going over, the same kind of questions that Marquis was asking
Okay,
this morning.
certainly, George, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to take the screen and let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, I was doing a lot of programming this morning. I got a small trade in that it was around 6:30, but we had a pretty dynamic opening this morning. I have a 1 minute chart here and a 3 minute, no, it's a 5 minute chart on the middle here. It's the dollar on the left hand side. But here was the open this morning, and it was pretty dynamic. And most of this run up, the ATR was in what I call the red phase. It was above 20, which means that you had to really have a 30 point stop. 30 handle stop on your trades. Well, you have two lots on, that's 60. If you lose both lots, that's a total of 60 handles, which is quite a bit. So I didn't trade in this early part, but when it came into about, well, I got in, it was almost right in here, almost the quarter of 11 that I got in, and I got a 1, 2, 3 here, and I took it up, and I think I only got about 40 handles out of that trade altogether. Well, that was all right, it wasn't a big deal, but I got up to the top here, and if you look at the top, that's pretty much the same point over here. But if I go left on the 5-minute chart, you'll find that I think it was 21414 was the next high that I was expecting. So anyway, I thought, okay, we're at a peak now. The trend, this dotted purple line here is the VWAP line, which is a volume weighted moving average line that begins at 9:30 when the market opens. And so I thought, well, I'm going to take this down. So I called this my point 1 up here. Let me add the drawing to it. And right in here is my point 2. I didn't hit it quite accurately. But anyway, I got in. I didn't get in at the 0 line. I got in somewhere right around here. Started going down, but I started getting movements back up into it. And the way I traded in this particular case, because I was going counter to the trend, my first lot came off at 7 handles. And at that point, I moved my stops down to break even. And what happened is price came back and it went all the way up to here. So my second lot, which was usually looking to come down into this area, it got stopped out. The limit came forward, and so I got a total of 7 pips on the handles on that. But when I saw it go up high, but it didn't break this high, I thought, okay, I'm going to try it again. And I did it again. I got my 1, 2, 3 here, and I was letting it run down, and then I looked away for a while. When I came back, it was coming back on me, and I ended up with only 2 handles in that trade. But it finally went up to the top here, and it almost reached the point I was looking at. This is 21,408, and I was 21,414 was the high way over there. But, you know, at this point, I'm clearly in a wave 4 type motion, and I was getting close to lunchtime. But lunchtime, we had a beautiful trade going on in here, and I missed this whole thing. It was just like a beautiful straight down trade. I could have made probably over 100 handles on that trade, but I missed it because I was at lunch. But the point I was looking at was this area in here where I only made about 6 handles out of it was what Marquis was talking about. I was at a high going down, and I got into the trade, but it came back on me here. I was in fairly early because I was pretty certain I was going to go down. I forget exactly, but it went down probably about 10 or more handles, and I had gotten out of my first trade at 7 handles, and then it went back, and I had moved my, as I say, I moved my limits down to break even on this. I mean, my stops down to break even. Sorry about that. Moved the stops down to break even, and they eventually got hit when this big candle came in, because I think it was right around there at that point that it hit it. So that's how I managed the trade, because Marquis, these trades can be very difficult because you have a lot of competition going on. There's buyers and sellers, And you see that by the wicks and candles in here. So you don't know how much they're going to try to push things. So I try to manage it as almost like a scalping trade. And I leave my first target small. In this case, it was like only 7 handles. And as soon as that is hit, I move the stops down so that I'm at break even. And even though, you know, I didn't get the full complement, which would be totally me about over 30 handles, I kept out, I made a profit on it, and the others, you know, was literally break even. So that's how I handle this, Marquis, when you're in this situation where there's a lot of wicks and tails going on in the trade. And in this case, of course, as you saw here, the market was in an upward move. Here's the upward move of the market. The green one is the 200 SMA. So it had been going up all morning quite nicely, really. But, you know, I wanted to take the trade to see if I could go back down to the VWAP line. And, you know, eventually it did, but you would have to wait until all of this happened in here before it really took off and went down. But it's playable if you know that you're in the wave 4 type area and you accordingly manage your trades on a scalping type basis. I don't know if that's helpful to you, Marquis, or not. On something
yeah. Yes, I appreciate the explanation, George.
Yeah, so George is playing in the dangerous area.
Yeah,
you can get chopped up. You know, if you are aware that you're in a 4th wave, you know, that's really helpful. So if you are aware that you're in it, and
I was in this case
so
aware that I was coming into a dangerous area.
Yeah, so your eyes are wide open. You know that you're in a dangerous area, so you have to take those risks if you want to play in there. You know, ideally, it's best not to play in there, but if you know, once you are comfortable and you feel confident, you can play in there. But
yeah,
exactly. It takes practice and patience and experience, right?
But you know, this happens a lot of times. I mean, if you look at the 5-minute chart here, 5-minute chart. Here's the area that I'm in. Up in this, actually, I was up in this first one. So it hit a nice high, and it had a beautiful run up, as you see there. So I was kind of looking for a turnaround, because quite often what happens when you get an algo trade, you get a parabolic move up, and shortly after that, you can get a parabolic move down. And that's kind of what I was looking for here. But the problem is that it didn't happen. And when I see in this chart that I'm getting all these wicks and tails in here, I decide that, okay, I'm going to take it easy and just scalp it. If it breaks and goes down nicely like I expect, I'll be in good shape. If it doesn't, you know, I'll grab just a few pips. So I ended up with total for today 77 and a half handles. So I'm kind of done for the day.
You've had it, eh, George?
Pardon?
You've had it?
Yeah, I've had it for today. Yeah. I can watch at this point. And, yeah, let me see. Yeah, 57.7 handles I made today. Yeah. For the week, I have. For the week, I have. Actually, I did pretty good because for the whole week I have 98 handles. So most of what I made was in today. So the day before today, Tuesday, I didn't trade at all. So I had zero for that day.
All right, excellent. Thanks, George. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, so let me go back. And we're going to take a look at Bitcoin here. It looks, actually, before I look at Bitcoin, let me go back to Tesla just to see where Peter is at with his Tesla. And so he's still sitting around the same spot. So it looks like it's consolidating into a fourth wave here.
Yes,
and
it is.
Should drop through again and take out the lows. So we can see the overall pattern. I'm on the 1 minute, excuse me. Wow. I'm on the 1 minute chart. So yeah, we've been in a third wave, and it looks like it's a little bit of consolidation going on at this point. Let me go up to the 5, and you can see it a lot better. I can see it a lot better and clearer on the 5. I can see the structure here and know that we're getting an elongated fifth wave here. So we could be getting long in the tooth now, but it's quite a rundown though.
I covered my short, Lennox.
Okay.
I made about $1,500.
Yeah, nothing wrong about taking something off there. It looks like it still has a bit more to drop though, but it's all good. All right, so I'll go back to Bitcoin. And
yeah, that's an interesting point, Peter. Instead of me trying to maximize each trade, if I see where the trade seems to be taking a break and halting, I'll just get out of it and not worry about the retraces and all that kind of stuff. You always get with the 1, 2, 3s, you get another trade coming in that does exactly what you want. So you don't need to maximize every trade.
Yeah. Agree, George.
all right, so Bitcoin at this point, I'd like to see if I can see where the top is. Okay, so there's the top of this move. So we came through a fourth wave, similar to what we were looking at on Tesla, that fourth wave, and then we get this big drop. So there is, in essence, a 1, 2, 3 top, and then we get another one here. So we're in a downward mode. So don't really want to be buying unless it's a retrace counter trend move, right? So you have to be aware of the fact that we're in a downward mode. So on the 5 minute, that now it starts to be clearer. So we got this move here to this level, and then this drop. So that puts us into a fourth wave at this point. So very choppy area. Have to be careful in here because we can get chopped up, but looking to continue to the downside here. It's more likely. So I've drawn the trend lines on the 5 minute, but this can be moved. I'd have to wait for this candle. You see, the thing about the 5 minute, you have to be really super patient because you have to wait for a 5 minute candle to close, and then the next 5 minute candle to close in order to get a swing high or swing low. So there has to be a lot of patience there. When you're looking at your Tesla, Peter, you're on the 1 minute chart, right?
Yeah, I trade on the 1 minute chart, but right. I also check the higher level charts to get that perspective.
Of course, you check the 5 and the 15 to see. So yeah, on the 1 minute chart, you can see the swing low is already in, but on the 5 minute, you still have to wait another 10 minutes before you can say yes, that swing low would be in. So I've got those two at that point. Those are the most recent swing highs and swing lows, and you can see right away that we've got a 1, 2, 3 top, and we drop. So that puts us into a fourth wave here, and it's a triangle.
Yeah.
And we would be looking for price to come back up in here, and then a continuation to the downside, something like that. So if I'm counting my waves, I would say, okay, that's A, and this is B, and this is C, this is D, and that puts me in an E leg, which could take me up to take out these guys and these guys, and put me up higher, and it could even take me back up into this gap. So that's a possibility before we get this drop. So play up once you understand and you can see where you are. Yes, you could play to the upside here in the E leg, especially. And if you were aware that you were at the number 3 point here and you wanted to catch the A leg, remember the A leg consists of A, B, C. So the B leg consists of A, B, C, and this one consists of A, B, C. So you're not going to get impulse waves in here. You're just going to get an ABC correction. That's it. So you have to be really super careful about playing in here. That's why you got chopped up a little bit there, George, because it's an ABC construct. And so it looks like a nice 1, 2, 3, but it's not going to go very far.
But once you're aware of what's going on, you just handle it a different way.
Appropriately, yes. And even when you're aware that you're in the fourth wave, it's still very, very tough.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to do in those areas generally is I'm just scalping a few, just to add to the kitty, and it's usually fairly easy to do. The other thing is I work off the active trader, so I'm seeing how the trading is actually going rather than it's sort of like looking at almost like at a tick chart, because you're seeing the movement of back and forth of at each price point. And if it bounces quite a bit, you're in a difficult situation, but I have my ATR indicator on, so I know when it's starting to really get pumped up. And at that point, I'm usually just stepping aside because, they can swing at 30 pips in a heartbeat.
So here's a pattern that's setting up that we're looking for right now on Bitcoin. So I've got a sweep of the low and a break of the previous high, and very quick, and then this move up that breaks that previous high, and then retrace back in. There is just the only thing I have is essentially an order block or the breaker block at that point here, and that could be an entry in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move that I was expecting in the E leg. So that could be a possible entry to go up. It's a risk play because I'm in a fourth wave. So, they might be manipulating things, and, if they take out this low, that would be where my stop would be at that point, right? If I took an entry here. So what I would do is wait for a fractal at this point. So wait for the next candle to see if I can get a higher low here before taking an entry. If they take out this low, then everything is null and void. And that's very close to taking it out there.
But as Lennox is saying, it looks like it's getting ready to turn around, but it's not an easy turn at this point.
So I'm looking at structure. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this was a sweep, but you see this could be 3, and then they go up and they come back down, take it out again, and that gives you your 4, and now you get your 5 here, and now we could start going back up. But you see, that's how they can trick you. and it looks really good. They make the setup look so good. So if you jump in prematurely, this is what happens. So that's why I would wait for the fractal here, but I didn't get one, so there's no point for me to take a trade here. I have to wait for it to. So now it's all started all over again. So now I've got a sweep. So I'll be looking for a breach of this high at this point now. So you're looking for this type of movement.
Yeah, I haven't been playing the Bitcoin because on the future, I get so many gaps that it's so darn difficult to figure out what the heck can be going on until you see the number of candles after to try to figure out direction. And the spread just annoys me.
So now I have a fractal. I've got a sweep. Oops, that's messed up. So now that's a buy for me at this point because I've got the fractal. You can see the Tom DeMark lines are in. I've got the Tom DeMark lines. So I'm looking for them to break above, take out this high. My stop would be just, whoops, let me put my positions on here. So there's my entry. So my stop would just be below the low. That would be, so that's my risk.
Yeah, on my 5-minute chart, it's this wave 4 is not
Big
really showing that it's ready to break out on my charts anyway.
And that didn't work. So looked pretty good, but they said no, they got more to drop. So this is a 1-2. Again, I can see what they're doing. They came back into this gap, so they're going back one more time to breach. So this is how you can get chopped up. But for me, this is all right because it's a small, I mean, albeit that wasn't a very small loss, but you can take a smaller loss at this point. I'm looking for that turnaround now. So I'm looking for a new fractal. So this is still a fractal low until I get one here. So I can see what they just did there. It was just a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they're coming down one more time to sweep that low. So going in prematurely costs. Sometimes I don't put the stop on right away. I wait to see because this can happen, and then I put my stop on once I get my fractal again. But you take a risk because they could all of a sudden just tank on you. There's no guarantees in this game whatsoever, right? There are no guarantees. All right, so we're getting a new fractal. This is like a tie here, so we could still take out this low.
What I'm looking at on the Bitcoin, it definitely looks like it's in a mode where it wants to turn around, but it hasn't quite done it yet. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 candles that are pretty much at the same point on the 5-minute chart. So until it can decide on which direction, well, the next direction should be up. It's just a question of when it can take place. We're still in a down mode at this point.
Well, just remember, I'm looking for an E leg to go up, but you have to catch the bottom of that. You can wait patiently for a breach. Like now, I can wait for a breach of this high. So that's all I need. I don't have to go all the way back up here, because you want to find the nearest high, and you can still get a move like that. So looking better now on this one. So I'm going to try it again. So I'll try it because I like to get in early. So I'll try that again, and my stop would be right here below that. So I'm not going to give them anything. I can just give them a tick below that low, because that's all they need to do is take a tick and knock you out. So there's no point in putting your stop way down here. I mean, you could, of course, you can put your stop way down here, but you take the risk that they can come down and take you out. So you get a bigger loss. So until this candle closes, this fractal low is not a fractal low. So it's got another 10 seconds. So we'll see if this holds. It doesn't hold, and I'm out again. Okay, so that held. So I've got a fractal low, but it still didn't hold, because they came back again one more time and took me out. So yeah, so by one tick. See that? By one tick. That's all they need.
That's easy to get in Bitcoin, isn't it?
So try again, right? I'm looking for that bottom. I'm pretty sure we're very close to it, but so like I say, I like to just go in sometimes that don't put the stop. And in this case, if I didn't put a stop on from the beginning, I would be fine. I'd be down in drawdown. But, you have to be careful about doing that.
Well, it's looking to me like there'll be a few more 1 minute candles going down.
Well, they got equal lows down here, so this might be tempting for them. These equal lows possible. Remember, we're in a fourth wave, so they can manipulate this area quite well. Oh. Okay, so we're getting another fractal. So it's best to wait for the candle to close to confirm your fractal. You swing low. All right, so it's closed again. All right, so now I'm getting a gap. So that's a bit more confirmation of this low.
Yeah, if that can continue in that vein, it's pretty good.
All right, so now I've got a sweep. I've got a sweep. So if this closes above, then that's really good. And then a retrace back into this gap would constitute a buy at that point, right? And see if we get that move. So you can be patient and wait, or you can try to get in earlier and get killed. Like sweet.
Well, Turbo CCI is trying to pull this guy north right now.
Okay, so let's see if this gap holds. We have to wait for the candle to close for the gap to be confirmed. So we've got another 3 seconds. The gap looks like it's going to be confirmed. Yep. Now we look for a retrace back into the gap. If we get that, we might not get it because we've got a double gap now. So they might just go without coming back. It's coming back a little bit. Let's see if we can drop into it.
I've got 3 check marks for going north at this point. Well, actually, I got 4 check marks for going north.
Yeah, I've got an order block there as well. So this order block is right in line with the gap, and we've touched it. So that might just be enough for them to bounce off here. So I'm going to just take the trade right there. So the 2 candle order block, they touch it, they might just do that. They might come lower into the gap, or, you know, you just don't know what they're going. The only way you can know is if you go down to the second chart and start to look at the structure. So you see they're coming a lot lower. All right, so that's fine. And looking for stop placement would be, again, down here. So since I have a gap, I use the middle candle for my stop rather than the low. Let's see if this will work.
They know how to keep the pressure on.
Oh yeah, these guys are good. Here's my new swing high. So looking for a pushback to the upside here.
They're not making it easy at this point. It's still in a positive mode, but it's getting a bit hairy at this point if it goes down too far.
So what I'm looking for is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move to take out this high up here. You're not coming out of there in a hurry.
That's a bad move now. That's saying we reversed.
Ooh, very close to taking me out. I'm just below that low right there. I might be taken out. Should I put it below the low? Maybe. So that's not working. Will they take that low?
Yeah, reverse. Oops.
So that's 3 losses in a row. Wow. Okay, so they've just tied the low. My word. So a tick below that low might have been the ticket instead of being below the middle candle. Interesting. So very interesting here. This will be my new fractal low if I get another one here. So this will be my new swing high to break above. Maybe. Get a sweep here. They're not making this one easy at all.
At this point,
Okay, so there was equal lows down here, so it's possible they might be gunning for these guys.
right now, that's what I'm looking at. It's gunning for it.
Yeah, because again, we're in a 4th wave, so these are very easy pickings for them to come down and take these guys out first, and then move back up. So they leave nobody down here. This is typical of 4th waves, right? They'll do that.
Here we go.
They'll take those guys out.
Here we go, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the risk you take in here doing that. It's a 4th wave, so I'm showing you guys that it's tough in the 4th wave. So it's probably best to, as Peter did, go up to the higher time frame and wait for the breakout of the 4th wave. You know, and in this case, we're looking for a breakout to the downside. So we'd wait for that breakout. It's a lot more patience is necessary to do that. So yeah, this was what they were doing. They wanted to take out the lows over this side first. So now there's no one left down here except for the number 3 point. Just this all the liquidity is gone here now. So the only place they can go now for liquidity is either down here or back up to these levels. So if we're correct and this is A, B, C, D, then we know that they're going to go back up to get liquidity, right? And that's it. If we're wrong, then they continue down, and we gotta recalculating. All right. So now my new trend line, the mark is from here now because I don't have anything that's lower. So this is it here. So again, we have a sweep, breach of this high, or even this one would be reasonable. We get something like that. All right, so we're getting a breach of the highs here, so we'll be looking for a retrace now. So see how the fractal here, I could have gone in on that right there, and that would have been my risk. So that would have been, I would have been correct finally at that point, and could have made most of my money back on that. Yeah. So this was more legitimate because they did sweep all those guys. They sweep here as well. The only place there's liquidity is here and above here and here and here. So more than likely now they're going to come and take out the liquidity above, because this would be themselves going back up. So they wouldn't come and kill themselves at this point. So we'll sweep. We've got a closure above. We get a pullback in here. Give us a nice 1, 2, 3.
I put my Heiken-Ashi 1 minute Bitcoin in the room. This is on a Forex chart. But that triangle that I put in there that's in orange is where we thought it was going up, but boy, it turned around fairly quickly.
How far do we come back now? So my new fractal high is going to be here and here. So we're getting a nice retrace here. Coming back into this gap. Okay, so that looks pretty good for a buy now. About midway of that retrace.
This is still in wave 4 type territory, it looks like. Reversing again.
It might be going for those lows.
It's a possibility they could go and take them out again, but you wouldn't think they would do that. So I'm going to put my stop below the low again, 1 tick below. Since they've swept these guys here, there isn't anyone else except here, right? So if they're buying to go up, they wouldn't take this low again, but we'll see.
The NAS is going down.
NAS is really going down.
Really going down again.
It had quite a drop here. Now I'm looking for a fractal here to turn us around and go back up. So let's see if they keep that low intact and get a turnaround in here now.
It might be going for the over.
Just hit a new low in that section.
I'm sorry, Omar?
I was saying they might be going for the lower low. Not that one, the one to you.
At the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could do that, certainly. So we have to look at our structure and see, okay, are we way off base here? And is this the actual move that's going on? And that would be what they're doing? That's possible. Again, when you're in a fourth wave, right? It's this is just a good demonstration of the madness of fourth waves. You can get really diced up trying to figure it out. It's a good exercise, though. So I'm tempted at this point to add more lots, but I'm usually confident to add more at this point, to continue going up. But it's an iffy one, right? So we're so close to this low, it's a bit iffy. I still feel that we should go out of there, but boy,
back down,
tough one. They can easily drop it back down again and take us out. So.
Well, NASDAQ is down to a minus 0.18. S&P down to a minus 0.2%. They're a lot better than they were this morning.
So I can make my loss a little less by moving it here. I'm taking a big risk doing that because they can easily spike down and take me out. But just lessen any loss here if they come back to take out that low. So I'll do that. So if they do come back to take me out, then that means they're really going to take out the lows. So I think I should be okay there with a stop now. Let's see if we can continue and take out this high. Yeah, so I could be, to my own chagrin, I could be wrong by doing that, because they might not even take this out and then they just take off out of here now because they just swept that low. That's how they kind of entice you too, but by letting you go in there, putting your stop under there, they take you out without taking out the low and then turn around and go. So that could be what they're doing. So we'll see. So this hasn't been a very good time in this area at all.
Yeah, they're trying to turn it around again.
So the lesson here is don't play in fourth waves.
But sometimes you only realize after you're in it.
That's right. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, this platform thing though is annoying for me. It freezes, and it don't normally happen in the night, like in the London session, but at 10 o'clock and like in the 1:30, 2 o'clock, those times.
It's very unusual. So there's a sweep again. And now looking for them to take out that high. So they sweep these guys, sweep. So they took out the lows. So that's interesting on that one. So I wouldn't have been safe there anyways. I would have been killed on that. So now we're getting a new move. So there's my order block. Closure above would be good. Retrace back to the order block, and this could be it. So I'll try again, because I can make all that money back with a nice move out of here to the upside, right? So that's the beauty of it. But look at them go now. So it looks like that was what their ploy was. So they took out these lows. Now we're getting a change of character. This is also a change. So we get a retrace back to this order block. So looking to come back to the order block. And there's also an inverted gap here too. So it could come to either one of those. Gonna have a new swing high. Okay, we're getting a retrace. So we're just looking for a tap on that order block.
The clock already.
Last hour. Okay, so it should be a dynamic finish to the day today. So I'm going in right there, but they could come down to the order block, and if they do, I'm going to buy up some more. Buy some more here, because I'm really expecting them to go now out of here. So I'm taking a big risk now for them to go out, because they've swept enough. They swept all these guys. They swept again down here. They swept inside. We've got a break of this level, break of that level, closure above, retrace. Everything's pointing to a move back out now. So where's my stop? I'm gonna put my stop way down here. see if we go. And I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Ooh. This thing looks like it's going to take off on the Bitcoin and then it drops back down. This is why it's easier to wait for a good 1, 2, 3 setup and not try to play around in wave 4. The spreads in here are so ridiculous, so darn hard. At least on NASDAQ, you got a 1, 2, 3, and you're moving up on it. You know, you could make money on it. That probably stopped him out last candle.
All right, wrong again, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Okay, so fourth wave happening for continuation. That's quite interesting. So let's see. So yeah, it looks very much so. That's what they're doing again. So it's very difficult in the fourth wave because we got a fourth wave and now we're inside another fourth wave at this point, looks like. So lots of chopping up going on here.
You're in NASDAQ at this point, you're making all kinds of money.
So how's the NAS doing in there? Yeah, the NAS is still in a pretty precarious place too. Yeah, this is so messy and choppy. It's just a dangerous area. So that was my expectation that we would get out of here to the upside, but they're saying nope, they're not doing that at all. So they've taken out the lows, and we got lows over here. If they go to the 5 minute, it's all pointing to
All down.
just a continuation, right?
All down.
To the downside. All right. So in that case, this would be the breach of the lows. So this is where Peter would be looking to get in to go short on a breach of that low fractal there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So instead of trying to beat them, we just can join them. I have to wait for this candle to close to see if this gap holds. So we're coming down to the bottom of our big gap on the daily. We've gone through the middle of it. So this was one of the things that we were kind of sitting right on that middle of the gap. And you think, okay, maybe we could get a bounce, but no bounce. All right, so we'll look for a bounce here to this level, and that would be a sell. But they're so tricky anyways. These guys are so good. So I've got a 1-2 here. This looks like a fourth wave, although it's kind of messed up. And then we drop through. So for all intents and purposes, we could be done and we could go back up again. But now that they've broken the low, they didn't even give us a retrace to jump in on that. Not much. So sometimes you sit there waiting and hoping that they get it. You get a retrace, and you don't get it, and it just leaves without you. So Peter, at this point here, when you have the breach of the DeMark line,
Yeah.
and you wait for the closure, are you getting in immediately as soon as the next candle opens?
Well, usually what I look for is a retrace to that trend line. Like I
retrace back to the trend line, and in this case, you wouldn't get it.
Sometimes retests that trend line and then goes down.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't get that. So yeah, it's tricky.
So in this case here, you know, if you're waiting for that retrace, like it's better to just jump on board because the retrace may not take place.
Yeah. And I waited for this gap to be painted, which means this candle has to close, and then I'm looking for them to come back and touch the gap, but they don't do it either. So, you know, you just miss the trade, and that's it.
And that spinning top there is a continuation candle. So
yes,
you break the trend line, you get a continuation candle, and just jump on board.
Yeah. So you have that option at that point. So this is basically a quick 1-2, and then another quick 1-2, and they're gone. So where are they going on the daily? We're right in the middle of that gap right now. So it looks like they might want to go through to the next gap. That's a total possibility.
So at least you're in a downward mode now.
So yeah, looking, you know, getting a fourth wave and expecting this bounce is totally, you know, appropriate, but they're not doing it. So this is a typical move that they would do, take everybody out and then drop it. So, you know, very sneaky that they didn't do it here. And so you missed that trade. So my next gap is down here.
This is a big downward move. You made up all of your.
Yeah, that would have been a good play. Yeah, had I got a little touch here, I would have been in. But that's didn't happen, so it's all good. So we're through this gap now. So that gap is no longer.
That's no longer a gap.
It's gone through, so it's no longer viable.
That's the word I was looking for, viable.
I
said that's the word I was looking for, viable.
Yeah, they call it mitigation. It's been mitigated. It's been used up. it's been abused and all that kind of stuff. So let me just go back and just make sure that we are correct here. No, we're still inside the larger daily gap. We've just gone through the midpoint of it. So this gap is still intact. We haven't breached it as yet. To breach it, we have to close below it. So we haven't closed below it at this point. So it's still intact, the larger gap. So I'm looking at the 4-hour candle. So we just had a new 4-hour candle here at time is that 3 o'clock? That doesn't make 3 o'clock? Yeah. 12, 10, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock candle, 4-hour candle. So since our previous candles, our previous 3 candles, let's see, have been downs, right? We've had down candle, we open, we go up a little bit, drop. We open, go up a little bit, drop. So we're just on a downward spiral here on the 4-hour. So we really don't want to be going long. It would be counter trend. So looking for a long would be a counter trend move. That's what I was looking for, that counter trend move to continue the move down, but they didn't do that. So we're just in an otherwise downward spiral right now on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is down at 81,000, 82,000. That's amazing. So looking at it from the weekly standpoint, we are still in a 4th wave. It's all messy in here, but, and this is like the E leg. So still intact to do what we're expecting it to do, drop down and then continue to the upside. That would be our structure. So we were just coming down quite a bit though. But you can see we can come down, we could come back even to this level. We could drop all the way down. That's possible. We do have a 1-2 here, so that could happen. All right, so on the daily, we're still in that daily gap. Is that enough for them, or do they want to go down to the next gap? 4-hour. The 4-hour gives us a nice structure here. We've got our nice 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know we're in the 5th wave. So we're in the 5th leg. So this could be the bottom area at this point. We could be turning around at this point and getting a nice bounce back up. So 1 hour. This is the 5th wave, so we could be done now. 30-minute, we could be done at this point, but on the 30-minute, we came through this. We've got a 1-2 here, so that could bring us down even further. So we could still violate this low. On the 15-minute, that's a big, huge 1-2, another 1-2. 3, 4, 5. So there's still possibility of another drop. I say possibility because this is quite a extreme 1-2. This is more reasonable. So we could be at the bottom. We're right in the middle of, this is the daily midpoint of the gap. This is the gap, top, gap, bottom. So we're at the midpoint of it. So we could turn around here, or we could continue going down a little further. So which one will it be? 5 minutes. Still looking like we're going down further. We've got a 1-2 here now. So we could do that and continue down. And finally on the 1 minute, so let me go, I'm going to mark this 5-minute gap off because if I get a push back into that gap, I could sell from there. And that's really close. Okay, so come back into this gap, that would be a sell. Good morning, Armin, or good afternoon, Armin. Oh, here's a nice photo.
Yeah, good afternoon.
In the light.
I gave Peter a wake-up call this morning, then I went back to bed.
That's nice of you. Wake up, Peter. I'm going back to bed.
That sure helps.
All right, so do we get another push back up into this gap?
Yeah, Peter gives me a few scriptures to chew on, and I go back to bed. Today we were looking at Ecclesiastes 7, verses 15 to 18. So I took those to heart. That was good. That was a very good word. I'm thinking about getting a job. I'm going to go back to work at McDonald's.
So Ecclesiastes is all about vanity.
Well, it says the end of the matter is vanity, vanity. Except
Always vanity, saith the preacher.
Except for Jesus said, Matthew 23:23, that life is all about living justly, acting mercifully, and walking humbly with the Lord your God. So if you're doing that, you got it made.
That was Matthew what, Armin?
Oh, Matthew 23:23.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Jesus is quoting Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
Say again?
That's Jesus quoting Micah chapter 6, verse 8.
And the first one was Matthew what?
23:23.
Okay, there's my sell. I'm going to sell it here and make my money back now on this drop. Will I be correct on this here?
And we got these stained glass panels here that are from Matthew as well, which is kind of neat because it gives a summary of legalism.
Wow, they're coming up quite a ways here. This is not good. That's enough, guys. Okay, so I'm going to put my stop up there. I'm taking a huge stop here. I'm going to sell again. I'm looking for a continued drop here, but this could be the bottom that I'm at. After all this time, I could be at the bottom looking to go one more time to the downside, to my own chagrin again. So they did sweep, get a nice pullback, and now we're getting a move. I'm looking for them to drop it again, but maybe they won't. But so am I wrong? We've got 1, 2. So that could be 3, 4, 5. That could be it. And I'm getting taken out on this. I was looking for them to drop it one more time here. I might be incorrect. So this is a good 1, 2, 3 bottom setup here that you would want to jump in on to go back up. Yeah, I like that. All is vanity and the chasing after the wind. Yeah, when it comes right down to it, eh?
Have you got a lot of wind yet?
Okay, I'm going to sell some more here. I'm looking for a drop here. If I get it, this could be it. So they came very close to taking me out. Big red candles here.
$224.
Come on. We were doing so well.
It happens every once in a while. Keep us on our toes.
Wow. I was looking pretty good there for a moment. I could be in trouble, but I kind of looking for this drop here. I was tempted to take a little something off, and I thought, no, it's going to go. But no, now I'm kind of second guessing myself here. Should have taken something off. Okay, so give me another chance here. Big drop here. Come on. Look to take a little something off this time. That's better. Okay, take a little something off. Still have a lot to make up. I think I had 4 losses. 4, so all right. Okay, so based on this move, we should come all the way back down to the bottom. See how it looks on the 5. Yeah, the 5 looks good. The 5 says, yeah, we should come back down, take out that low. 1, 2, another 1, 2, drop, boom, boom. Bring my stop down. It's always you always have to be concerned when you have a 1, 2, 3 bottom, because they could do this move still. They could still do that. But since we're in a downward mode, we would want to be just to be an A, B, C, and then we're done. And then we're just making a 1, 2 here to drop. And that's it. So. Okay, big drop here. Okay, I think I take another little something off again and just leave a small amount. I can always add to it if I'm correct. Go back above 3,000. There we go. Okay. So now my risk is reduced completely. If I can take this low out, I can move it into positive with my stop and not lose at all on this trade.
I have to go, Lennox.
We're supposed to have a meeting with Vic.
Oh, is that happening today?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be here.
Is Vic there still?
I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah. Vic?
He's here.
Yeah, do you want to start right away, Vic? Vic's not talking to us.
He has his microphone off.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to start now, we could call it a day.
Yeah, I kind of like to do that so I can get a walk and be.
Well, we have to get a hold of him first here, so. Let me can you write a note to him there, George, please?
Hmm?
Can you write a note to Vic,
Oh, okay.
please? these guys are, no, so they've come back to take me out of the trade. So yeah, see, we could get a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5-wave move back up. So they might take out that high. They might not take that high, but so my stop might have been a bit too tight in here. So that was, made some profits there. NAS has just been doing nothing today here, just chopping, eh? In comparison, Bitcoin's a little more buoyant. So are they going to break this high?
Made an up move, not the nicest in the world.
No, it's not the greatest move there on NAS. It's not a very good trading instrument today. So do we break this high? It's the question. It looks like they're going to break that high and give us our structure. So this was just a retrace in a 4th wave here that I got my some of my profits, my losses back. So this would have been a better move to the upside here and another move to the upside here, rather than just playing a counter trend. But I was expecting a drop. So they almost took out that high. I think they might have taken out that high. 748.18, 749. Yeah, they took the high out by a tick. So they might go take it out a little bit more convincingly into this gap.
I think you just did it now.
Yeah, so, okay, so that's 5 waves completed back up to this level. So does that mean we come all the way back down, take out these lows and come through? We definitely should get a retrace anyways, and maybe they'll take out these equal lows at this point. So that would be a good sell coming back down. But very tough trading here. So it's looking like we should have got get this move back down. Still there. There's still a possibility. My demarc lines are all messed up now. That's my new lines. So you can see the wick that we've got on the 4-hour now. It's quite a change. We had a big drop, and we've got all wick here. It's all wick down here. So we could be seeing a complete turnaround here in the Bitcoin. So we've got 5 waves, and a retrace might be sweep, and then we get this move back out again, because this is a big, huge wick. That's a big rejection on the 4-hour time frame. So we could see a big turnaround going back up. So I'd look for a retrace again. Now the question is, do we get a big retrace or not? So NVIDIA is going to give their results. I think NVIDIA, let's take a look at NVIDIA, see what they might be doing after market closes. I've got 15 minutes. I could make a play on NVIDIA option wise. So daily, so on the weekly. So the weekly looks really good. I like the weekly. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 1, 2. So I like NVIDIA for a big push back up. We've got a big wick on that weekly. Daily, we're sitting right there in the middle of a 1, 2, 3 on the daily. Oops. We're sitting right on this, right midpoint. So we could see a big push to the upside. That is a possibility. However, we do have a 1, 2, 3 top. So we could also see a drop.
Yep.
That's funny. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've come back into this area so much, you know, not liking that at all. This is a nice sweep, another nice sweep, push up, back in. So we should be getting a push back out of here, but we have to be concerned about this little hiccup in here. So on the 4 hour, our 4 hour candle is saying, yeah, we should take out the highs up here. So liking that, but we do have a 1, 2, 3 top. So this is where we might not get a fifth wave because they're giving earnings, and earnings will be great, and you get this big push to the upside.
The NAS is going up rather nicely.
Yeah, the NAS is now finally making a breakout move. Amazing. Took a while, but getting that nice push out. Yeah, so I like NVIDIA for a buy, but you know, this is the but here because of this. This looks like a fourth wave, but if they have good earnings, they can be right up there. If they have any kind of negative, we could be way down below 125, which is not so good.
Isn't there a lot of competition from China, Lennox, that could,
So they say.
that could interrupt their trajectory?
Yeah, so they're saying, yeah.
Although the 1 minute chart is very strong, and that usually indicates that
It's looking good.
Yeah.
But we are in the fourth wave, so it's this is where the fifth wave might not play out because they're giving earnings. So this is Bitcoin not turning back at all, not giving us any retrace here. So a nice play to the upside from here would have been nice, would have been great. If I just had it in my mind that we were going to come down a bit further, but nope. So, and I pointed out that we had a 1, 2, 3, so we could get that takeout move here. So again, you have to look at all the possibilities.
The 1, 2, 3 bottom on the 5 minute chart, NVIDIA.
Yeah, I saw that on NVIDIA. It's looking quite interesting. So even the 1 minute, very strong move out. But again, we're inside a fourth wave, so we're here. This is a fourth wave at this point, so we could tank.
Yeah, I see that. That's true.
Yeah, that's where. But it's a nice 1, 2, 3 there though on the 5 for sure. Okay, Bitcoin giving us a pullback finally.
Going up, up and away. I'm getting my first, almost looks like it. What's the first red candle?
We got 3 minutes before macro time. We could see another big push in could see another big push in NAS here. The upside. Well, that would have been a nice play in the NAS at this point. Sure. Very good move here. So will they continue to the upside, or are they coming back down at the 10-2. So it looks pretty good. We got a huge 1, 2, 3 bottom. So it looks quite strong, and that's what I remember we were saying, because we're down in that gap near midpoint, we could see a bounce back here, and that's what we were getting right now, getting that nice bounce back to the upside. So another couple of minutes. There's a whole slew of liquidity sitting here, so then that's probably where they're heading. Take these guys out. That's the Bitcoin again. Not stopping. They're taking out the high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, at least you made back all your wave 4 type movements.
Yeah, I made some back, but still lots on the table. I'm not down that badly, actually. Okay. So my lines are getting very steep now. Look at that. Wow. So that's my new DeMark lines on Bitcoin. All right, we got less than a minute to go before 10 minutes to. So do we see a big push to the upside on NAS? Or does it fall? Well, that looks like a buy there, but they could break that low first and then take off back up, because we've got 1, 2, 1, 2, so 3, 4, 5. So we should push one more time to take out the highs here, equal highs. We're looking like this on the DeMark lines at this point.
Musk has lost $50 billion.
Oh, poor Musk, eh?
Yeah, I'm shedding some tears here.
Yeah, it's just harsh. I certainly would be crying if I lost 50 billion. 50 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be crying today if I lost 50 billion. That'd only leave me with $1 billion.
Oh boy.
You know? So yeah, there'd be some tears at this house. I think Joe would be very, very upset with me. What do you mean you lost 50 billion?
What do you lose it on?
Well, I would assume that some of it's because of the drop in share price, the dramatic drop in share price.
And people not liking him too much anymore.
Yeah, people aren't buying his cars anymore. And people are putting stickers on the back of their Teslas, and yeah.
And anti-Musk. Okay, so not much movement going on here at the 10-2 mark. I'm looking for them to push up. Bitcoin didn't do anything either. Either. Yeah, not much going on here at the in the last 10 minutes yet. So maybe they're holding off till the close.
Did Vic tune in?
Vic, you with us?
Yes.
There he is. We can hang in for another 6 minutes, or we can cut it off right now. 6 more minutes?
No rush.
Okay, we'll just see if we get a reaction here on NASDAQ at the end of the day. Looking for a push to the upside to take out these highs one more time here on NAS.
So did you guys see the news where a Chinese ship got caught cutting a cable?
It got caught cutting the cable, huh?
Well, you know, the
Cutting what cable?
it was a cable from Taiwan to the mainland.
You mean a communications cable?
I don't know, just some kind of cable. I'm sure it was used for communications. Yeah.
Must be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the news. You can Google it and see the pictures. And
Just shut down Taiwan, eh?
well, you know, the Chinese are
Very sneaky.
very sneaky. Yeah.
I think they're the ones that control the markets.
There's a big gas line that got blown up between Russia and Europe, right? That was a few years back now. You know, nobody really knows for sure who did it. I think it was 007 myself, but
yeah, very sneaky stealth stuff.
Well, the Bitcoin is going up and the NAS is going down.
I think this is just a quick money grab here on the NAS. They're going to continue pushing up, I would think here. We do have a sweep though, and another sweep here. So it is possible it could drop. This could be the high. They could still push up one more time.
well, thanks for trading the Bitcoin today. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, and you know the lesson again is be aware when you're in fourth waves, because very deadly dangerous area. Yeah, NAS is not looking good right now. It's kind of bleeding a little bit, so we could come down to be taking out all these guys. I thought maybe they'd go one more time to take out these highs here. Maybe that might be expecting too much. Still possible, but yeah, Bitcoin's fun to trade because it really moves. It's very buoyant currency.
Lennox?
But it's also a double-edged sword because your spread is so wide.
Lennox? Lennox?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you look on the Bitcoin 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, the NAS 5 minutes.
The NAS. Okay. Yes. Looking lean here.
It's looking lean.
Yeah, it's looking like we're, looking like a fourth wave, right? We've dropped quite a bit here.
If that gap holds, then it could go back up.
We could get one more push. Yes, that's what I was expecting here. But
it's in a gap right there. So
we've got a 1-2 here, so we could get another push to the upside. But you see, they're going through that gap pretty quickly. So we're coming up to the close up of the market now. So this could be a big push off this gap to the upside real quick here. That would be definitely precariously balanced right now in the NAS. Let's go down to the 1 minute. So we've got, so it's looking, and at this level, you can see how if we draw a line like that, we're inside this channel. So can we get that one more push up to take out these highs? Possibly here, right?
It looked very plausible.
And this is 1 o'clock now, so let's see if we get that big move up.
But then,
there we go.
On the
that's what I was expecting there on the NAS.
On the 5 minute, it did look
a bit precarious, yeah.
No, I mean it did look good to go up. Yeah.
So will they go to take out these highs here now? That would be the.
Because all right, based on the Elliott wave theory, if you look back at the 5 minute,
yes.
Look at the 1-2 there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can look at it as 1-2, but it's also could be an AB, and then this leg has the 5 waves in it.
Oh.
And that will finish it. And so we could get to these highs. They might go up to those highs, and that will be it. So a lot of times when you see this here as a 1-2, it's just an AB.
Oh, okay.
And then you got the 5 waves in here. You got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves in here. So you have to be, that's a tricky thing, because if you use it as a 1-2 and you're thinking that, price can, continue going, it might not do that, right? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get A, B, and then in here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and you're done. And then that's it. But if you look at it as 1-2, you can get fooled to thinking that this can continue going all the way up. So it's very tricky. So now that they've swept that high, that could be it. I was expecting them to go a little higher and take out these highs, but they don't have to do that. Because that sweep, if I go to the 1 minute, that sweep there might just be enough for them.
Oh, okay.
To come back. You see? So now this low would be in play for that. So that's a possibility there. This also could be a possible 1-2, and we continue one more time to go up. So again, you have to look at it in multitude of ways.
Yeah.
And it's always best to get into the trade when you really feel confident about which way you think it's really going to go, because there can be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different possibilities.
Yeah.
So it is a patience game, as Peter was pointing out earlier when he showed us his trades, right? It's patience. You have to be patient and wait, and plan your attack properly. And it's a battle, like he says too, right? It is a battle. So is that enough for them? So that, and you have to keep asking yourself questions. Is that enough for them at this point to take that liquidity and then push this back to the downside? Or are they going to go higher to take out the liquidity that we pointed out up over here, right? This is what makes it super fun and interesting. Trying to figure it all out. So now these trend lines are really helpful, because if you keep drawing them, you start to see how you're tightening up your area, and it can only go certain ways now, right? We can break through that. We can continue climbing, take out these guys, and so on. So got a nice 1, 2, 3 there, but we also have one coming this way. So we could go either way at this point, right? 1, 2. So it looks like 3, 4, 5, and looks like we could be done based on that little flick there, but I'm still kind of thinking that we could still go through one more time. It would be nice, but we'll see. And in the interim, Bitcoin is saying, yeah, finally giving me the pullback I was looking for, but look how long it took to get that pullback. So that would have been a great buy in here to go up. But I didn't expect it to go too much higher than around here and then come back down. So, all right. Yeah, we've got a meeting, so we'll call it a day. This was good though for Bitcoin today, to see how you can get yourself in deep troubles in fourth waves.
How did NVDA do after the close?
I don't think they're giving their earnings directly at the close. I'm not positive they are. Let me just see. Post. They're moving up post right now, but not by much, because we just closed, right?
Yeah.
So we closed at where's 4 o'clock? So they're not. It's not. They. I think I saw a thing came up, a little thing coming up saying that in about 40 minutes or something they give their earnings. So it might be a while before they.
Yeah, that could be.
But it looks like the same Bitcoin type movement here, eh? The same 1, 2, 3, or NASDAQ bottom. Same kind of NASDAQ bottom. The double candles here. NASDAQ, yeah, same double candle. So yeah, it looks like they're going to continue pushing up, take out the highs, come up, take out these guys. After that, we could come back. All right, so tomorrow is another day, and I think there's lots of red news tomorrow, if I remember correctly. So oops, that's the earnings. So tomorrow we have, yeah, unemployment, GDP. So we should have an interesting morning right at 5:30 your time, 8:30 your time there, George.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's the unemployment.
Yeah, and you got home sales and GDP and durable goods. So lots of stuff coming out tomorrow morning. So it should be a buoyant morning. So there goes NAS making that nice push to the upside there. So as I would expect at this point. All right, gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks very much again for dropping in.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
No
George.
problem.
See you.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
See you guys.
And just one note, yeah, we were in a fourth wave on Bitcoin. We got stuck, but you see, you can still make your way out of it. You can still, I came out almost pretty close to break even. So it's doable, but it's not what you want to do. So.
Yeah, Lennox, I was in the play to the upside on both the NAS and the
Oh, good. So you made a little something there.
Yeah, but one of the key points, I think I need to take that out of your book. You always say take a little something off, and
Yes,
that's very significant. So I'm
it
practicing.
is, especially when your account is small.
Yeah.
You just want to grab profits as quickly as possible to build your account. If your account is big, you can hang in there for a little longer and so forth. But
yeah,
the key is to build the account, right?
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Have a great rest of the day. Take care. So I'm going to close out and come back in for the meeting.